Okay, we are back. Let's start the case number 15. Till death do us part. Matthew, I can't describe how relieved I am that we found Penelope and convinced her to break up with that musketeer. I understand she's beside herself with grief, but refusing to let her stay here in the Renaissance is definitely for the best. And now that we've also saved Leonardo da Vinci from the Inquisition and helped him finish painting the mural for King Francis, and also solved the murder of Vizier in the Ottoman Empire, we can finish recalibrating our time machine's computer and go back to good old 2029. Our last stop before returning to the present is Da Vinci's workshop here in Florence. Matthew, you and Jack accompany Leonardo to his workshop first to make sure the coast is clear, and we'll follow after. Ah, home sweet home. It appears I've received a wedding invitation from King Henry VIII. The bride is one Lady Fiore Giovanna Piera Grazia de Medici. Matthew, I know Henry had multiple wives, but I thought all of them were named Catherine or Anne. I've never heard of this Fiore. Guards! Guards! Lady Fiore is dead! Wait, Lady Fiore as in King Henry's bride-to-be? Yes, she was discovered dead in her changing room. Please come quick. We'll be right there. Man, Matthew, we already investigated the murder of Henry's previous wife, and now we hear he's not only marrying someone we've never heard of, but she's dead too. I'm sorry, Leonardo, but given the sensitivity of the time stream, Matthew and I are obligated to look into this. I understand. I'll be here. Well, Matthew, let's head to the bride's changing room. I also know for a fact that Henry VIII had married Catherine of Aragon, Jane Seymour, Catherine or Anne. Jane Seymour is the only one who wasn't named Catherine or Anne. Otherwise, there was Catherine Parr, Catherine Howard, Anne Boleyn, Catherine of Aragon. Wait, let me see this. Anne Boleyn, Catherine of Aragon, Catherine Howard, Catherine Parr, Jane Seymour, and Anne of Cleves, I think. There it is. Got it. Not gonna be dragging my feet with getting the first star. There we go. Matthew, this woman must be the bride, Lady Fiore. Damn, dying on your wedding day. It looks like she was shot through the heart. That window pane is broken. The shot must have come in through there, then hit Lady Fiore in the heart. There's an exit wound in her back. The shot went right through her. That means the killer used some kind of bullet rather than an arrow. Ah, good eye, Matthew. That pouch of sewing supplies has a hole in it that's about the same size as the hole in the victim's torso. I wonder if the bullet pierced the pouch after passing through the victim's chest. Let's take a look inside. Let's look inside. And this is a pretty fancy box. It could belong to the victim. You'll have to get it open to see. Well, this marriage might not have happened in history, but we're not going to let anyone get away with murder. And I gotta get stars, so sit tight, everybody. Alright, I got myself up to 7 stars, so let's take care of this now. Wow. Matthew, that box is holding King Henry and Lady Fiore's wedding rings. And there's an inscription here in the lid. It says, "My royal blessing on this union, Alberto de Medici." I gotta say, Matthew, Renaissance history is a little blurry for me. I'll have to check Alberto de Medici on the tablet. Alberto de Medici rules the Republic of Florence, and Lady Fiore is apparently his cousin. So he gave the couple their rings as part of his blessing and hosting to their union here in Florence. Well, it looks like you should talk to Lord Alberto about the murder. Your Grace, we are the guards investigating Lady Fiore's murder. We understand she was your cousin. Oh yes, what a tragedy. And what's worse, her murder will cause an international crisis. Just yesterday, my family was proud of me for securing this wedding. I had done so well, I found the best rings I could on such short notice. Does that mean this wedding was a sudden development? Yes, a much-desired strategic coup fell suddenly into my lap. This marriage is still an alliance between the Kingdom of England and the Republic of Florence. It could never have happened were it not for the recent sudden death of King Henry's previous wife. That misfortune gave me such a boon, and now... Speaking of King Henry, is he nearby? We would like to speak to him as well. I believe you'll find him at the wedding venue, and Godspeed, loyal guards. This is number 15. Is it 15? It is. So we're around halfway done with this. And I'm looking forward to the next season. Guards, why does your presence not surprise us? The last time your path crossed with ours, one's wife was murdered. And now murder has afflicted one's bride. What is your explanation? We were hoping you might explain, Your Highness. We understand this wedding was planned only recently. Please tell us more about your bride, Lady Fiore. One was still unfamiliar with the lady, but our marriage would produce an alliance between England and Florence, and a male heir to one's throne, a matter of utmost importance to us. Well, this would lead to Jane Seymour. Do you suspect anyone regarding her murder, Your Highness? One is surrounded by jealous enemies, frothing at the mouth like rabid dogs to bite off a greedy hunk of one's kingdom. The possibilities are countless. You guards must find the lady's murderer forthwith. Their head must roll. Leave everything to us, Your Highness. Matthew, we should investigate this area to see who else is here. Will, after I get the sewing pouch out of the way. Okay, let's see. Sorry guys, camera ran out of film time. Matthew, you were right. The bullet that killed Lady Fiore was in the bag of sewing supplies. And that is one crazy looking bullet. Let's have Theo take a look at it. I was also trying to go over King Henry VIII's wives in my head. I can think of Anne Boleyn, Catherine of Aragon, Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard, Jane Seymour, and Catherine Parr. I think I got all 6. Broken sculpture. Got that. Got the first star here. So now, Matthew, it looks like this broken sculpture is made of sugar. I had flipped through a book Orlando has on Renaissance sugar sculptures. Sugar was a luxury item, so sculptures made of sugar were a popular way for nobles to show their opulence. But in my experience, stuff usually gets broken when everyone's drunk after a wedding, not before. You're right. If we piece it back together, maybe we'll learn who broke it. And this goblet looks like it was important to the wedding ceremony. Let's recover the faded writing on it. Give me a few minutes, folks, while I get some more stars. Alright. Got myself up to 10 stars, so let's get these things out of the way. There we are. Matthew, this is a sugar sculpture of the bride and groom. These were often presented as gifts to the couple. I wonder if this coat of arms will tell us who this one is from. Good idea. Let's see if we can find this coat of arms in any of our research material to see whose it is. That 2, 3, and last one. Got the 9 in time. It's Anne Boleyn. The coat of arms on the sugar sculpture is Anne Boleyn's. We saw Miss Boleyn in England and then again in France. It's interesting that the sculpture is from Miss Boleyn, since according to history she eventually married Henry. Could this gift have been a strategic move to get in his good graces? Given her close connection to King Henry, it makes sense that Anne would be here for his wedding. Let's have a word with her. Guards, it's so terrible. What's happened? I've lost my best friend. Wait, you knew Lady Fiore? We found the sculpture you gave to the couple and assumed you were here as a guest of King Henry's. The gift was for both of them. Fiore and I were childhood friends. Her death is a great loss to me. I finally remember traveling to various palaces with Fiore, occupying ourselves while the parents discussed politics with dukes and duchesses, kings and queens. Oh, the pranks we played. Once we spread birdseed on the floor and opened all the windows, the birds came and made such a mess, shattering vases and relieving themselves on the tapestries. Our parents screamed and screamed while Fiore and I just laughed and laughed. Sounds fun. Do you know of anyone who deplored Lady Fiore, presently? No, Lady Fiore was beloved by all, especially me, her best friend. Cisneros. Matthew, this goblet belongs to Cardinal Cisneros. We first saw the Cardinal in Spain while he was the Grand Inquisitor. Do you suppose he's here to officiate the wedding? Good thing that's not happening. I can just see him interrogating all the guests about their loyalty to the church. And speaking of interrogations, let's ask him some questions. Greetings, Your Holiness. We are here investigating Lady Fiore's murder. We understand you are here as the wedding officiant. Yes, I believe a royal wedding would be a nice respite from the constant grind of questioning heretics. But it appears nothing is sacred. You must find the evildoer and support the small of their back upon a pike until they confess to their crime. Leave the serving of justice to us. Do you know who might have harbored hatred toward Lady Fiore? I can't imagine, no. But whoever they are, they were working against the will of the Lord. And I'll see you guys when these two are done. So for now, this is Matthew. See you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the autopsy first. Matthew, I've never heard of this Lady Fiore Giovanna Parmigiano whatever before. Surely she wasn't one of Henry VIII's wives. No, that's just it. This wedding didn't happen in history, and someone else clearly disagreed with this union. Indeed, she was shot with incredible force. The projectile passed between her ribs, smack dab to the center of her heart and out her back. It's impressive, considering the shot came from outside, through the window even. Yes, given they got her square in the heart, your killer is clearly quite the sharpshooter. Well, Matthew, it's only a matter of time before we'll set our sights on this killer. Matthew, the bullet you brought me is fascinating. Yeah, isn't it strange looking? And it shot through a window, the victim's torso, and finally a sewing kit, which is where Matthew found it. I believe it. The teeth on the nub make it like a drill bit, and I'm guessing it spins while it travels. Which means it can easily chew through many materials. If shot with enough force, I just wonder what sort of gun was used to fire it. Did you learn anything else from the bullet? Yes, it had stains of fig liqueur on it. Probably your killer needed a little fortification before committing the murder, and they had some on their hands when they loaded their weapon. It's going to take more than drinking fig liqueur to help our killer cope with the punishment they'll get for this, Matthew. Well, Matthew, we're nearly finished fixing the time machine with Da Vinci's help. But another murder has pulled us away. King Henry's mysterious new bride was shot in the heart before their wedding could take place. Historically, the wedding never took place anyway, but now all the royals of Europe demand that we find her killer. We know King Henry had a horrible track record when it came to keeping his wives alive. Though historically, he at least saw the weddings through before he had them beheaded. And it turns out Anne Boleyn was childhood friends with the victim. She's understandably distraught about the murder. And the victim's cousin, Alberto de Medici, is frightened of the repercussions the murder will have on the projected alliance between England and Florence. And Cardinal Cisneros naturally thirsts for the blood of the culprit. I wish you had more concrete leads to... Matthew, you must come to my workshop right away. Yes, Leonardo, but we have to solve Lady Fiori's murder first. Precisely. I just discovered that the killer shot her from within my workshop. OMG. And I'll see you guys for Chapter 2. Don't go anywhere. And we've come back. Let's start Chapter 2 of Till Death Do Us Part. And we last left off. This was it. I heard tell of Lady Fiori's murder, and I suspect your killer fired the murderous shot from my workshop window with a weapon of my creation. What? But how did they get into your workshop? My door is always open, as I have many commissions, and allow clients to pick up the work themselves, but I never expected my workshop to become the scene of a crime. Well, there's a first time for everything. Let's head to the workshop. There we go. There we are, teapot. And I got the first star. Matthew, do you think that strange gun is the weapon used to shoot the bride? I can tell you for certain that this is your murder weapon. It is a weapon of my own design, and when I left for Spain, it was safely packed away. You're right, Matthew. The window has a perfectly clear line of sight to the changing room and the palace across the road. So this is where they fired the gun. Yes, and I have specifically designed the projectile to spin as it traveled, with as little precision as possible. We appreciate the help, Leonardo, so we've got our murder weapon, and it looks like there's a smudge of something on it. Let's collect a sample. Also, that locket you found, Matthew, I have never seen it before. It is not mine. Well, let's see what's inside. Looks like a lock of hair, and there's an inscription, but it's scratched away. Let's recover it. Oh, how about that? Got the 9 just like that. Great, now let's get this sample you took from the murder weapon to the lab. Oh my goodness. Matthew, the text engraved in that locket says, "For Alexander, my love," signed Penelope, which means this is a lock of her hair. Wait, you're right. The locket must have been a parting gift from Penelope to Alexander. But how did it end up here in Leonardo's workshop? After breaking up with Alexander, Penelope hasn't left the time machine since landing in Florence. So if Alexander was the one who left it here, does that mean he was here in the workshop? Let's ask him about this. Oh, Guard Matthew, it is good to see you. Someone so close to my beloved. It is as close as I'll ever get, now that she's left me. Yes, we were sorry to hear the news, Alexander. If it's any consolation, we found the locket she gave you. Tell us, what is it that brings you to Florence? Eh bien, King Francis decreed that I was to represent France at the wedding of King Henry and Lady Fiore. I see. And what made you visit Leonardo da Vinci's workshop? I believed while I was here I could consult Mr. da Vinci about constructing an automatic feeder for my horse. Such a device would ease my travels, certainement. But I arrived to find that Mr. da Vinci was not in. Then I heard the wedding was cancelled after the tragedy of the bride's death. I hoped the festivities would hide my drinking of fig liqueur by the barrelful to quell my heartache. But now murder has struck. Sacre bleu! Is no romantic union safe from the tortures of this world? See you guys when the purple liquid is done. For now, this is Matthew. See you soon. Okay, we have come back, and let's get the results of the purple liquid. Theo, did you learn anything from the sample Matthew took from the murder weapon? Yeah, I found out your killer is sick. I'll say they're sick. They shot a bride in the heart just before her wedding. No, I mean your killer is literally sick. Your sample contained colchicine, a common contemporary remedy for gout. Gout is a disease in the joints of the foot and was very common at this point in history, especially among the upper class. Your killer was suffering a flare-up of their gout around the time of the murder. Well, Matthew, looks like our killer will have a tough time running away from us. On this note, Matthew, we should also do another sweep at the wedding venue and see what we can find. Let's go. Got the first star. Matthew, who do you think broke this object? If we piece it back together, it might give us a lead. And this basket of flowers is the perfect place to hide something. Let's dig in. And moment, folks. Alright, I got 4 stars from the crime scene. So, let's get this first. Let's get these ones out of the way first. Okay. Matthew, the design on this plate shows King Henry's Tudor rose and also irises, which are the official flower of the Republic of Florence. Clearly, this plate was meant as a symbol unifying the bride and groom's dominions. But someone broke it, which is an ominous sign. Let's get it to the lab. Got it. Have a little trouble there. Matthew, there was a letter in this basket of flowers, and the letter is addressed to the victim. The letter says, "It is beyond my comprehension how you could be so two-faced. You are scum." Whoa, harsh words. Then it says, "Gird your loins because I'm coming to spite your wickedness." And it's signed by Anne. Looks like Anne had a bone to pick with Lady Fiore. Let's ask her about it. Lady Anne, in our investigation, we happened to learn of your fiery hatred for your childhood friend Lady Fiore. Of course I burned with hatred. The hussy didn't invite me to her wedding. Wait, so you came uninvited? Imagine, I hear rumor of the wedding, I trouble myself with the making of a beautiful gift of a sugar sculpture of Fiore and King Henry, only to find I'll never receive my invitation. After all these years believing us genuine friends, then finally the moment comes along when she is to marry and becomes someone, and she excludes me from the celebration. Well, while enjoying a bit of fig liqueur, I hatched a plan to insert myself into the festivities anyhow. It was my chance to shine before the European nobility. So here I am, and to my delightful surprise, King Henry has been saved the embarrassment of marrying Fiore altogether. She was beneath him, if you want the truth. Lady Anne, if you were the one who saved him from that embarrassment, you'll have to answer to us. And I'll let the porcelain plate run its course. So for now, this is Matthew. See you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the porcelain plate. Theo, what have you learned from examining the plate Matthew found? Well, this plate was made with very fine porcelain, so it was very strong. My grandma had dishes like that. They practically bounced when you dropped them. So I can tell you that to break it so badly, one would have to throw it pretty hard. This could have been broken in anger. But who would have been that angry? Well, lucky for us, the person was so angry that they also spat on the plate before they broke it. I ran a test on the saliva and found a partial match with the victim's DNA, which means it was someone related to her by blood. Related to Lady Fiore by blood? That must be her cousin, Alberto de Medici. Well, we better go ask Lord Alberto why he would spit on and break a symbol of his cousin's marriage. Your Grace, we understand you were the one who broke this plate representing your cousin's union with King Henry. Why? Please don't misunderstand me. Initially, I was overjoyed about this wedding. As I said, it was a big diplomatic coup for Florence. My uncle, Pope Leo X, was proud of me, and my whole family said my scheming was worthy of the Medici legacy. But as the wedding approached, King Henry revealed his true face. He saw me as a weakling he could manipulate. He planned simply to use me to seize power over Florence. If he were to challenge me to a duel, that would be one thing. I am an excellent shot. Even if I were drunk on fig liqueur, I could get him right between those beady eyes of his. But politics are not my strong suit, and I stood to lose both Florence and the respect of my family if I let King Henry encroach on my territory. I'd be just another gout-ridden failure. You clearly had reasons to stop this wedding. Hopefully you didn't take drastic action to do so. Well, Matthew, despite being unknown to the history books, the victim made quite a strong impression on our suspects. Lady Anne was driven into a rage because Lady Fiore didn't invite her to the wedding. Meanwhile, Lord Alberto had second thoughts about the alliance being struck between King Henry's England and Lady Fiore's Florence. Of course, it would be easier for Alberto to get away with murdering his cousin than murdering King Henry. Did he resort to such a solution? And we discovered that the shot was fired by a prototype weapon from the window of Da Vinci's workshop, hitting the victim square in the heart. Quite a trick. Guards! Guards! One must speak with you forthwith. Yes, Your Highness? A bit of news. One has realized that you are the deadly Paul that has destroyed these wedding festivities. What the heck is he getting at? And I'll see you guys for Chapter 3 to see what King Henry VIII is spewing at after this. Okay, we have come back. Let's start Chapter 3 of Till Death Do Us Part. We last left off with an accusation from King Henry VIII. First you appear on the occasion of Catherine's murder, and now this one. One might take you to be witches conspiring to keep one without an heir. Your Highness, I assure you we aren't the murderers here, and if Matthew and I are to solve this crime, we all need to keep our heads, literally. Guards, is he bothering you? I apologize on his behalf. He's just drunk. This is not the first time I have seen him in this state. I'll tend to his needs and ensure he doesn't make any irreversible decisions. Yes, thank you. I'm sure the pressure of being king is already very great, and on top of that, his bride-to-be was murdered. Speaking of, Matthew, let's take another look around the crime scene. Oh gosh. Got it. Ah, Matthew, you found the bride's veil, and it's got some kind of powder on it. We'll collect a sample to identify it. And here is a jar full of a strange cloudy liquid. And are those worms? What on earth is this? There's a label, but the text has been rubbed off. Let's recover it. And I agree, restoring this torn paper could prove helpful. Well, let's hope Lady Anne can keep drunk King Henry at bay until we're done examining these clues. Moment, folks. Alright, I got 4 stars, so let's do this. Whoa, Matthew. The label on this jar says Fiore Giovanna Piera Grazia de Medici, Urina. I know that urina is Italian for urine. Wait, urine? This is a jar full of pee, and why are there worms in it? Oh, this is too gross, Matthew. I think I'm going to... Quick, let's get this to the lab before I... Yeah. A jar full of piss. That's scary. Torn paper now. Matthew, these are wedding vows. These were most likely provided by the cardinal since he was officiating. They must have been written in English as the bride and groom's common language. Well, it's nice not to have to translate something for once. But look, someone wrote comments on the vows, saying they're drivel, utter manure, and laughable. I can understand their reasoning. The text is pretty authoritarian. Wives, submit to your own husbands. The husband is the head of the wife. Was Fiore the one who wrote these comments? No matter who it was, the cardinal wouldn't have been happy with this feedback. Let's talk to him about it. Your Holiness, these are the vows you wrote for King Henry and Lady Fiore's wedding ceremony. Yes, and excellent vows they were, but the bride took objection to them. Oh, so it was Lady Fiore herself who wrote those negative comments. Yes, I took her for a good Catholic girl, but she had the temerity to call my words into question. But the text is traditional. The Lord has laid down His laws, and our freedom within His traditions is wholly satisfactory. I am loyal to my Lord, and I lead a full life. I imbibe fig liqueur, mindful to avoid excess. I am a skilled and accurate huntsman. I collect art. The Lord tests my loyalty with curses such as afflicting my body with gout. Such is His way. But that little sinner didn't understand it. Lady Fiore balked at the Lord's traditions and has paid the ultimate price. Serves her right. Got it. Brown powder. Perfect. Now let's check out the powder you got from the bride's veil under the microscope. Okay. Phone's ringing, but my grandma will get it. Itching powder and tobacco. Matthew, the powder you found on the victim's veil is itching powder and tobacco. Itching powder at a wedding can only be meant as some sort of sabotage, but who could have done this? Ah, you're right, Matthew. The tobacco mixed with it is a French strain. That means it came from Alexander. Maybe he was doing it in the name of France to cause a stir and cancel the alliance the wedding would create between England and Florence. So let's see what Alexander has to say about it. Alexander, can you explain why you put itching powder on Lady Fiori's bridal veil? Oh, you found that. King Francis was very concerned about this alliance between England and the Florentines. So he ordered you to pull this practical joke? No, that was my idea. I wasn't sure how else to sabotage the wedding without hurting anyone. And I would also relieve myself of my own romantic pain. I had spent some idle time tossing pebbles into the air and shooting them away, but my mood did not improve. The sadness of my rupture with Penelope pains my mind like the gout throbbing in my foot, and I couldn't stand witnessing a happy wedding ceremony. I hope your jealousy wasn't satisfied by murder. We'll see you guys when the jar of urine is done. For now, this is Matthew. See you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the jar of urine. So, Theo, what can you tell us about the victim's urine Matthew found? Well, it shows that Lady Fiori was in very good health before her untimely death. Healthy? Really? What about the worms? Well, the worms are just a natural result of urine mixing with bacteria. If you left your pee sitting out, for example. Oh, don't worry, I won't. But why was it kept in a jar and labeled? Well, during the Renaissance, it was a common method for testing a person's fertility. A person would pee in a container, leave it for several days, and if worms appeared, it meant the person was infertile. Is that true? No, it's wildly inaccurate. But science in the 16th century still had a long way to go. Accurate or not, these people would believe it, like King Henry. He can't shut up about a male heir. He would totally test his bride's fertility. And if he discovered that current science declared her infertile, who knows what he'd do? Matthew, we better talk to King Henry, sober or not. Okay. Okay, let's talk to Henry VIII. You buzzing flies here again. We are hardly well enough after our bout of revelry to talk to you. Our headache could cleave an ox or two. We're sorry to hear about that, Your Highness, but our question is urgent. We found Lady Fiori's fertility test, and so you are aware the worms revealed that our bride-to-be was barren. What news to receive on one's wedding day? Why is one cursed with barren women? One is a virile man. One can shoot an apple in midair, and not even our gout diminishes our manly charm. Ah, well, now that fate has saved one from this quite fruitless marriage, perhaps one could find a candidate who will provide us with a male heir to the throne. That would be Jane Seymour who does that. Yes, it is a convenient escape for you, Your Majesty. You scoundrels had better not imply that one is complicit in murder. Now go before we grow ever more vexed with you. After speaking with our suspects, it seems the fates were stacked against King Henry and Lady Fiori's wedding today. Alexander wanted to prove his loyalty to France by sabotaging the alliance. Then Cardinal Cisneros, who was officiating the wedding, was offended by Lady Fiori's rejection of the vows he wrote and called her a heretic. Even Henry was having second thoughts, as that disgusting test he did made him believe Lady Fiori was barren. There's a lot of turmoil swirling around this one. Despite not happening in the normal time stream, this wedding seems to have left a severe mark on everyone involved. And if we don't solve Lady Fiori's murder, these nobles could leave a severe mark on us. We better get cracking and wrap this up quick. You're right. The killer fired the shot from Da Vinci's workshop. Let's see if there's any more clues there. toolbox. There we go. Matthew, there's blood on this rolled up paper, and unrolling it reveals some kind of diagram. You're right, Matthew. It's a diagram showing how to use the gun that shot Lady Fiore. The killer must have gotten a paper cut when they unrolled the diagram. We'll need to get a sample of the blood. And you're right. This caddy of mechanical parts is a great place for the killer to hide something. Let's dig through it. Fig liqueur bottle. Ah, there was a flask of fig liqueur hidden in that box of machine parts. We know the killer drinks fig liqueur. This flask is definitely the killer's. Let's send it to Theo. We flooded Theo with clues in this case, so let's see what Janice can discover about this blood the killer smeared on the gun diagram. And I'll see you guys when these two are complete. So for now, this is Matthew. See you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the fig liqueur bottle. Theo, did the killer leave any trace of themselves on the flask of fig liqueur Matthew found? Well, one thing that's great about this fig liqueur stuff is it's a bit sticky, and sticky stuff is always fantastic for forensics. Stuck to the outside of the flask, I found bits of gold embroidery thread that had come off of the killer's clothing. So the killer wears gold embroidery. Gold embroidery, huh? Pretty fancy. Well, the killer will be downgrading their outfit real soon. And the blood sample. You know, Matthew, I'm excited to go home, but it's been fun to see some of the backward things that pass for science throughout history. Theo told me about the fertility test you guys found. I'd rather not talk about that ever again, thank you. So what can you tell us about the blood the killer smudged on the gun diagram? Paper cuts. All it takes is one little slice, and sometimes they just bleed and bleed. Which means you got a great sample, Matthew. I had enough to determine the killer's blood type. It's O negative. So, Matthew, our killer's got O negative blood and an O negative chance of escaping justice. We've got enough evidence to catch Lady Fiore's killer. There may not have been a wedding today, Matthew, but after this arrest, we'll still have something to celebrate. Okay, let's see. It's not Alberto de Medici. It certainly isn't King Henry VIII. No, not Anne Boleyn. Certainly not Alexander Devereux. Okay, I wanted to check everybody else first. It's the Inquisitor. Cardinal Cisneros, you are charged with the murder of Fiore Giovanna Piera Grazia de Medici. Murder? I am a loyal servant of the Lord. Well, can you tell us which of the Lord's orders you were obeying when you snuck into Leonardo da Vinci's workshop, loaded a gun, and fired it through the window of Lady Fiore's changing room, sending the bullet straight through her heart? How do you know that? The Swiss Guard works in mysterious ways, Cardinal. Now, why did you do it? I wanted Fiore to marry no one. That is why I killed her. But why didn't you want her to marry? Before this wedding was conceived, Lady Fiore was chaste. She was pure as the baptismal waters and wholly devoted to the Lord. And she was so beautiful. Many a time I confessed having impure thoughts of her, but held my sinful desires at bay for fear of tainting the Blessed Virgin Fiore. Only the Lord deserves such perfection, so I knew I could not have her, and neither could Henry the brute. So if I can't have Fiore, and if the Lord can't have her, then no one can have her. So you murdered her, as if torturing people wasn't bad enough. You're definitely not the holy man you profess to be. Well, thou shalt not get away with murder, Cardinal. The Pope will determine your punishment. Cardinal, your actions are horrific, and we will deal with you accordingly. I fear not your threats, for you have not the heaviest hand. The Lord will meet his own brand of justice. That may be so, but we will take our turn in your punishment before the Lord takes his. You are hereby excommunicated from the church. You must hand over your Bible and rosary within the hour. But the church is my life. What shall I do now? Well, Matthew, it appears the Cardinal got what was coming to him after he had orchestrated the torture and murder of so many others. And so much for this wedding between King Henry and Lady Fiore, which was never mentioned in the history books. Matthew, just to be safe, I designed a lock for the door to my workshop. Hopefully that will keep any other murderers from using my things for their terrible plans. But in the meantime, let's finish fixing your time machine so you can get back to the future. And I'll see you guys for a Stroke of Genius 5-5, and hopefully we will get back to the future. See you all soon. Okay, let's start a Stroke of Genius 5-5 and hope we get back to the future. Well, Matthew, we solved Lady Fiore's murder and turned the killer Cardinal over to the Pope. Great timing. Leonardo's almost done preparing the formulae we will need to reconfigure the time machine's computer. But first, Matthew, he said he needs to see you about something before we proceed. And Matthew, Lady Anne was looking for you. She says it's urgent. Well, Matthew, you and Nebbit can go see what Lady Anne needs, and then come see Leonardo in my lab when you're ready. Let's talk to Lady Anne first. Greetings, guards. Many thanks for having come to see me. You did a wonderful job uncovering Fiore's murderer. I am very impressed with your skills of detection. This is the nicest you've ever been to us. I feel a special request coming on. Yes, well, you see, while tending to Henry's hangover, there appeared a spark between us. Henry recognized as well as I that there could be something wonderful there. To abridge the story, we're getting married. Wow, that's a bit sudden. There is but one detail amiss in this plan, and it is that I lack a proper dress for the occasion. Fiori's dress was bloodied by her murder, but there's surely more fabric in the changing room. Please find it so a new dress may be fashioned. Now I must go see to the other preparations. We're on it, Lady Anne, and we know just the person to task with making this dress. Wow, so Henry is marrying Anne, just like what happened in the normal timeline. History is getting back on track. Come on, Matthew, let's head to the changing rooms. The changing room. Got it. Coin, scissors, and tambourine. Oh, goodness. Oh, there we go. Matthew, there will definitely be something we can use to make a wedding dress in this stack of beautiful fabrics. Let's dig through it and see. Did it. Only 4, but that's alright. White lace. Oh, this fabric is the best of the stack. I think Orlando will make a beautiful wedding dress for Lady Anne with this. Let's take it to him. Matthew, I have an embarrassing admission to make. In the tempest of work on your time machine's formulae, I seem to have misplaced my mechanical calculator. That's not a huge problem. I can build a computer application to calculate the formulae. There's no need. I already calibrated the calculator's gears for these formulae, and I know it is somewhere in my workshop. Well, in that case, let's go find your calculator. Now, let's see if I can get a good score. That must be it. Got it. Oh. All right, I did it. Got myself up to 3rd place. No way I can get up to second, though. Matthew, there's the calculator. Oh, Dio mio, thank you for finding it. The idea for it came to me in a dream. I saw numbers etched onto gears, and they turned as if to calculate the passage of time. But I could manipulate them to change the results. I remember seeing this device in a museum when I was a kid. I wanted to try it out so bad. Well, now is your chance. We'll feed our calculations into it and decipher the results. All right. Got it. Perfect! We have the results of our calculations. Now we have only to enter them into my prototype. Your prototype? You built a time machine here in your workshop? I wanted to save the surprise. The final piece necessary to test my prototype is a time crystal. Would it be possible for you to provide me with some from your time machine? Oh, definitely. I'll bring you some right away. Perfect. I'll use our calculations to calibrate the prototype, and you can help me test it. See you guys when both of these are done. So for now, this is Matthew. We'll see you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the calculator data. Leonardo, I'm so excited to test your time machine prototype. The time crystal I brought will be enough? It will be plenty. I will only make a 10-minute jump into the future to ensure our calculations are correct. Still, I am in utter disbelief of what I am about to experience. To traverse moments in a single bound, to glimpse temporal vistas collapsing around me. Well, Matthew and I will stand back. You tell us when you're ready. I am more than ready. 3, 2, 1, go! Well, now all there is to do is wait 10 minutes, when hopefully he'll be back and we can talk to him. Matthew, I can't believe we just watched Leonardo da Vinci test his own prototype time machine. Assuming all the calculations were correct, he should have been zapped 10 minutes forward in time. It's been 10 minutes. Unless my clock is fast, he should be here by now. Oh God, Matthew, what if he accidentally jumped back to prehistory and he's been eaten by a dinosaur? Well, maybe not. Did it work? Is this the future? Yes! Success! Oh, thank God. How was it? I feel like the very fabric of my understanding of the universe has acquired a fold that will forever inspire wonder in me. I also feel 10 minutes younger than the rest of you. Fantastic! Well, Matthew, we now have the calculations to get our time machine back in perfect working order. We can take flight as soon as you're finished tying up loose ends here in the Renaissance. I will see you again to bid you farewell, but for now, I'd like you to have this little gift. Alright. Now let's go ahead and speed up the white lace. Matthew, I cannot believe I've designed a dress for a royal wedding. I'm so excited to see it. I hope Lady Anne likes it. Of course, I took cues from traditional Renaissance style, but I also gave it a little of my personal flair here and there. Oh, Orlando, it's beautiful. It's perfect for a Renaissance wedding. Yes, it's just the kind of dress I wanted to have at my own wedding. But now, oh, that won't happen anymore. Oh, Alexander, my love, my only, my musketeer. Poor girl. Her breakup with Alexander is still a very sore subject. Yes, I hope she feels better soon. Well, Matthew, let's go present the dress to Lady Anne. Lady Anne, we have your dress ready. Oh, you wasted no time in fabricating it. I'll try it on at once. Here it comes, Matthew, the moment of truth. Oh, that's nice. It's beautiful. In this dress, I will be the toast of both Florence and England. You have outdone yourselves, guards. Now, I must confess, I have one more request. The Pope agreed to marry us, but you know how Henry is when he gets in a mood. He thought it funny to hide the Pope's Bible. But we can't turn our back on the church. It will be a disaster. Please, you must find that Bible. The only information I could wrench from Henry's petulant lips was that it's not far from the wedding altar. We are at your service, Lady Anne. Let's away to the wedding altar. And if you don't mind, Matthew, let's eat a little something too. Got it. Well, no help either. Excellent, Matthew. You found the Bible. Ah, but some of the text has faded away. We better fix that before we return it to the Pope. Got it. Bingo! The Pope's Bible is good as new. Matthew, you've had a long day, and soon there's a wedding to go to. I'll deliver the Bible. You go ahead to the time machine and take a break. Sorry guys, I dealt with the unresponsive computer for a while. Matthew, now that we've finally gotten the time machine back in working order, we can go home. I know, it feels like we've been gone forever. But one last thing, we've got to go to King Henry and Lady Anne's wedding. I mean, all we have to do is blast off. It's not like they'll come after us for not going to their wedding. There was a time stream crisis averted when Henry didn't marry Fiore. And now this marriage between Henry and Anne must happen to keep the time stream moving in the right direction. It's best you go to make sure everything goes according to plan. Good point. Well, Matthew, let's head to King Henry's wedding. Do you, King Henry Tudor VIII, take Lady Anne Boleyn for better or for worse, till death do you part? I assure you there will be no worse if the lady provides us with an heir. Henry, say the vow. Yes, we do. I now pronounce you king and queen. You may kiss the bride. May all the Lord's blessings shower you and your kingdom with good fortune. And now we share some of our good fortune with you, our humble supporters. Guards, thank you again for your help in making this possible. Yes, you not only apprehended the murderer of our former bride-to-be, but you also provided us with a new bride. And now there is no time to lose, and we must produce an heir before opposing circumstances can intervene. Well, Matthew, there goes quite a pair. I'm glad that worked out, since the history books already show that Henry and Anne were destined to marry. Ah, time is but a spring. When stretched beyond its capacity, it breaks, but you have allowed it to relax back into its original form. Well, thanks to you, Leonardo, we can get out of here to make sure it stays that way. Matthew, it has been an honor and a privilege to meet you and your team. As much as it tempts me to beg to leave with you, my duties are here. You have inspired in me another lifetime's worth of inventions. I wish you all safe travels. Farewell. Oh, Matthew, I can't believe we're finally going home. To think that all of this started with Caesar's murder. And we've been to ancient Egypt, Gaul, Rome, Greece. Don't forget the far-out 1960s, where we got wrapped up in Cold War espionage and intrigue. And now the Renaissance, where Leonardo da Vinci helped us fix our time machine. I'll never get over that. Yes, and we also made another valuable friend during our adventures. I hope Chief Scott will let me remain on the team. I'm so excited to sleep in my own bed. Yeah, and drink the crappy coffee they make at the time agency. I actually miss it now. Well, as Chief Scott says, opportunities are like kittens. You've got to grab them before they're big enough to bite and scratch you. So team, let's seize this opportunity while it's still soft and fuzzy. We're going home. Strap yourselves in. We're off in 3, 2, 1. Whoosh. And we are home. Whew. Oh, it's wonderful to smell the sweet, somewhat polluted air of the present. I thought I'd be ready to crawl right into bed after that jump, but I actually feel great. It's nice that time travel doesn't cause jet lag. Hey, none of these buildings look familiar. Yeah, New York isn't at all like I remember it. Guys, is that a giant pyramid in the middle of the city? What happened while we were gone? Excuse me. Altered present? It's already 12:18 where I live. I gotta get out of here. June 27th, that's another Thursday. But I got sticker packs to open, so let's get them out of the way first. I got 4. that's gonna do. Take my burger, and I'll see you guys on June 27th. See you soon.